Cancer, it's Romy. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel. This is your February 24 soul story. If you've got sun, rising or moon in the sign, you might find that this resonates and the insights could help you as you move through the month ahead. So we're opening up the conversation this month for you with the Ace of Staffs, the Ace of Wands. You're clinging on tightly to something because you understand its value, you know its potential, and it sparked something in you. Now, there's something about the intimacy of life for you in February. You're ready to get up close and personal with things during this 8th house energy of Aquarius season. That means having some tough conversations. And as part of that, as you feel into kind of the pathway forward and, you know, what you want to explore next, you may feel that something was in vain. You may feel it was wasted. But it wasn't. You're going to have to see how something plays out. It's going to take you on a journey, and it will, if you allow it, help you to face and to resolve something. Because February is a month where action is required, but there's this undercurrent of healing that's helping us to look and address things that, you know, we may have been aware of, acutely aware of, but for one, you know, reason or another, not been in a position to be able to kind of really deal with. And so patience to a certain degree will be your superpower through February as you give yourself time and space, and you also perhaps, you know, allow that for others in order to help facilitate the progress that we need to see for this month. And I do think you'll allow that to happen because that Ace of Wands is telling me that there's something worth pursuing here. There's something that holds the magic, and it's just like, even if you wanted to give up, even if you felt that circumstances were kind of blocking or preventing or making life difficult for you, this is the internal kind of spark that's not going to go out, and it's going to keep calling you forward, and it's going to help you to find a way to move through this month and beyond. So we see Mercury shifting into Aquarius on the 5th of the month, and the way that we communicate and our style and our approach this month, especially with the whole stellium of energies in the sign of Aquarius, asks us to do things differently. You've got the energy of death coming through. Again, a very clear path, a light really calling you forward, and again the growth, you see the flowers starting to bloom, so you do know the direction you're meant to be heading in. That doesn't necessarily mean you know how to get there or what the right time is or how to kind of really deal with all of the things that might be preventing it, but nonetheless there is a willingness on your part to embrace the changes necessary, and with every new beginning has to come an ending. And the intensity of those endings sometimes can catch us a little bit unaware. Now, Venus trines with Uranus on the 7th, and so news, information, experiences, and events taking place that kind of come a little bit left field. There's a surprise nature to what comes in around that first week of the month. And, you know, it doesn't have to be negative, but it could just kind of put you a little bit out of sorts, or, you know, you have to take a sort of step back to really kind of consider, you know, your response. And I want to say to you, Cancer, don't pretend to be okay with something when you're not. It's going to be much easier to speak up now in that early part of the month before something kind of gains traction, and before you know it, you're way further along the line than you expected to be. But there's somewhat of a rebirth that we see taking place when we're also working with that energy of death. The regeneration that's coming in is also helping you to get more in tune with your own emotions in regards to things. You might have felt a little bit blocked or indeed overwhelmed, but what we're seeing coming through here with the Queen of Cups is a much greater degree of flow through the month of February. And again, that's going to be super helpful. Now, even if something feels impossible, it doesn't mean that it is. You can do the things that feel hard and scary and difficult. That energy of death definitely brings an intensity, but with the Malika of Cups here, your body language is open and receptive, and all of these beautiful peacocks surrounding you also tell me that you're just ready to express and put something out there. And that could, for many of you, be on an emotional level. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be pertaining to something going on romantically. You know, it could just be that there's a situation that requires you to be super honest about what you feel and what you think. And as we approach the Aquarius new moon on the 9th, where we're going to have a square to Uranus, you will feel a pressure point. You will feel that sense of wanting to break free, of needing to kind of see that the way forward has something new to offer you. But it does, because the Ace of Wands has already kind of shown and revealed that to you. You know, change happens on an individual level. We can't wait or force it within others. But what you do come to really appreciate in this month of February, Cancer, is that when you make a change, and sometimes all that's needed with that is a change in perspective, that's enough. When you make the change, your situation has to change. So even if others are dragging their feet or not demonstrating or presenting to you in a way that makes you feel like they are, you know, by you vibrating to a different frequency because of what you do for you, naturally things have to start evolving, whether that means that they get moved on, taken out, or they end up responding to you in a new way. So it's a little bit of a wait and see, but once we do the work, and that Aquarius new moon is going to give you guidance and insight as to the degree and the exact nature of what you should be doing for yourself around that time to kind of help things progress. If you're looking for the answers and struggling to find them, the answers are in the journey. The answers are in the beginning, just starting something different, doing it a little bit, in a more sort of unorthodox way than you have before. That's enough. That's enough. Even if you can't assess whether that's the right thing to do, doesn't matter. You've got the Daughter of Staffs coming in here, and we've got this incense. So there's something to me about a conversation that clears the air. Okay, and it may be that that conversation is, you know, really critical, really important, as perhaps been sort of on the back burner for too long. As we move into our Year of the Dragon, celebrating the Chinese New Year on the 10th, right after that new moon, remember, this is about a directiveness, a focus, a growth, a movement. And so again, you feel compelled through the course of this year to just kind of really drive things forward. That's when we start to come into this whole stellium of energy in Aquarius as well. And there will be the desire to want to kind of engage or perhaps connect with your network, your group, your friends, because that's going to be having direct influences on what's happening in the closer to home relationships for you. And perhaps through the month of February you get a real handle to the degree that that is impacting things either positively or negatively. So, you know, your friendships, the people at work, your family, you know, whoever these sort of social circles are in your own kind of inner realm are going to be helping to shape and direct how you feel on a day-to-day basis. And if we're having critical conversations with somebody about clearing the air, I have a sense it's also connected into the group, or, you know, to this idea of how relationships with others is impacting on things from a more one-to-one perspective. Okay. I also want to say to you, what are you saying yes to? And that's in a way to be super mindful, especially around that mid-month. Now, if you celebrate Valentine's or if you don't, there's definitely a feeling that people will approach things a little bit differently. You might even feel that you yourself are a bit more open to things that perhaps you would have shut down or felt weren't for you previously. The Wheel of Fortune coming in here, again, notable surprises and opportunities. And exactly as we said, what are you saying yes to? Because the Wheel of Fortune is saying, look, universe and fate is intervening here and is going to line a whole series of things up through the course of the month, especially from that mid-month onwards. And it's down to you to assess, you know, how ready you feel, how receptive you are to doing things in a new way, to changing your perspective. And I think that's really the kind of beginning point of everything. There's something about February for you, Cancer, where you got to see yourself differently before you're going to be able to feel comfortable with saying yes to some of the things that are put to you, okay? And they will come in across the board, but particularly for you in terms of the advancement to help you, you know, in Aquarius season, in regards to how you're bonding with others, that sense of loyalty. But, you know, you'll also be looking at the ways in which wealth and prosperity, you know, is helping to support or indeed hinder kind of what your life experience is at the moment. You know, that 8th house energy is going to be looking at debt, for example. It's going to be looking at scenarios for some of you where you're in marriages and perhaps there's discussions around breakup or assets or shared money, shared resources. There's also a sense, I think, that there could be some benevolent feeling incoming gifts on their way as a result of an important conversation that may well take place as well through that middle part of the month. So keep an eye out. You may well feel like, oh, I'm not in a position, or I would rather not take the support or the help. One might say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It just feels like you're going to be in a position, if you do have to open yourself up to be given support in whatever form that takes, whatever nature it comes to you, you'd be best served to just say yes, thank you very much, and know that this isn't an ongoing situation. There's something kind of temporary about helping you to kind of have that rebirth and sort of getting back on your feet, or allowing something to go to the next level, or just being able to kind of open up in a safe space. So however that support shows up, I feel like you should be well in a position through mid-month to know that it comes in with the right energy and the right intentionality. Of course, we then shift into the Sun in Pisces from the 18th and start working with your 9th house as you explore new horizons and sort of really start to think a little bit further ahead about what's going on. There might be some fear and uncertainty about certain things that have been going on in your world and actually how you think they're going to play out. And so there might be a little bit of that storytelling that's going on within you, you know, when you start to kind of make things much bigger and, you know, without really the evidence or the facts to back it up, you kind of get ahead of yourself a little bit. And sometimes you can feel wrongly that it might be your intuition telling you this is what's coming, but sometimes it can just be the ego, the fear, the anxiety stirring things up to a degree that's a little bit unhelpful. What I will say to you with the moon, it's coming in around the time where we've got this Venus conjunct Mars on the 222 portal on 22nd. So big relationship issues are coming to light. So there's major revelations coming, which again mean the ending of something or the transformation of a situation that is well overdue. And so with this, the big relationship issues, of course, must be discussed. And we also have on the 19th through the 25th, exact on the 19th, the North Node and Chiron conjunct, providing this action for healing. This is a moment to take our power back. This is where we really highlight where victim energy, you know, within ourselves and others has prevented us from being able to kind of see measurable progress. So we heal through a crisis point. Okay, that's why this is a month that requires action, but it also is asking of you for this, you know, up close and personal attitude to have those tough conversations, because when we do the hard things, inevitably we get to see what we wouldn't have ordinarily been able to receive previously. And there's something really meaningful about that, because it's unlocking something deeper within your subconscious and probably in your own healing journey in a really beautiful way. It also helps to give you more deeper insight from a psychic and a spiritual perspective, which is going to help you on your path as you move through that 9th house energy as well. And I feel if we can give ourselves, honestly, Cancer, like a kind of 6-month window, yeah, to move in completely to the new experience that gets activated through the month of February, then you know that's going to give you that kind of time and space without pushing and forcing and setting like unrealistic expectations on yourself, where you're feeling the pressure to do something and do it so quickly that you end up kind of taking shortcuts or acting irrationally a little bit because you feel like you're going to miss out. You're not missing out. There's something really sort of grounding, even though it's quite intense, about February and what we deal with and what we face, and then taking the time to process and really make those more permanent adjustments within our perspective and ourself that can be so supportive. Now, of course, we've got the Virgo full moon arriving on the 24th of February, squaring Venus squaring Jupiter around that time. So again, another pressure point felt, especially where we see the value of something and a limitation around the progress or being able to move it forward. Virgo will get right down into the detail of what that is. And again, that full moon energy helping to bring to light something that needs to be understood. To a certain degree, you might have a fear realized, but that doesn't have to be negative, because then what we can come to understand is actually, well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It did happen, or it did end up being that way, but now I'm in a position to be able to kind of deal with it. And there's something quite grounding and much more balancing about that reality for you from that point onwards. Virgo full moon, of course, will always be somewhat critical and harsh judgmentally, which you might find you are with yourself or with others. And so we need to have a little bit tolerance and just ensure that we're not being so restrictive in terms of what we're asking ourselves or others, that we prevent progress from happening, okay? The other thing I always feel Virgo full moon will do was highlight to you how on a physical level you're being affected by the things that are going on around you. And sometimes we need to sort of have that direct hit, if you've constantly got digestive issues after you spent a prolonged amount of time with somebody, then you realise, I'm struggling to digest what you're saying or the energy you're giving me. If you're constantly run down when you are in a certain environment or having a flare up with a certain type of a food. So that full moon will always kind of acutely demonstrate to you, hey, there's a mismatch here between what's going on, and we want to address that. And again, that pressure point being felt can be super helpful on the healing level, because all of this combined, Cancer, are reasons that you are holding yourself back or limiting your potential or your growth in some way, shape or form. And so much of it often is not really fully understood or comprehended by you until it's kind of shown in this way. So a very illuminating month ahead for you as well, but one that you're going to see great traction in. Now, if you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we pull in the extended version of my reading, talk for another 30 minutes or so, go deeper into the month, as well as look at a personal question and a relationship card. I hope you'll join me. It's a way to invest in the channel so I can keep returning for you. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify the main reading to see what other energies are showing up for this extended reading. We've got the Chariot, love this, and the Lovers. All the cards I use are listed below. This month's soul journeys, please check out the relationship guided meditation I have for any relationship that you're trying to kind of move through and improve circumstances with. You might want to also revisit my dragon meditation. That soul journey supportive as we celebrate the Chinese New Year. So all of the sacred titles, ways to work with me, things that I create for you, you can find over on my website, romywiser.com. Okay, Queen of Cups here. We've got Energy of Justice and the Knight of Wands. You just feel like you've got a lot of energies that are honestly working supportively and in your favour to try to help you achieve and attain. Look at this 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups, Knight of Wands. These are helpful. Do you know, I just feel like there's a lot of helpful things that are like, okay, let's get you on track. Let's help you to feel into the possibilities of this. But we do need to give ourselves permission to kind of really sit down and be honest and say, well, you know what, that's not working. Or I need to do this differently. That's when you'll start to see the biggest breakthrough. But good momentum and progress in regards to also the goals and intentions that you've set early on in January. February is a time when you're going to start to feel more accurately kind of what the true measure of 24 energy is doing for you, especially with Pluto having now shifted into Aquarius. So take some time to kind of really sit with that and see how different it feels from previous years. That's going to also give you a lot of insight as to the best way for you to deal with and to approach things this month. Okay, so we're going to have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my own deck. As I said, check that out on the website. Do we have here Portals of Possibility? Yeah, this is what I'm feeling for you. Absolutely. Alchemize the Ache. There's the healing for February. Earth Star Energy. Sacred Ceremony. Karmic cause and effect. You need to be a little bit careful this month. Any rash or impulsive moves have a powerful and lasting ripple effect that you later may have a little bit of regret over. So, and yourself when you just kind of have those certain people or things going on in your life that you have less self-control over, and that's okay. You know, it's a work in progress, but you know, if you know that that's the case, and then you're going to be in a situation where you're likely to be a little bit triggered, just keep my words in mind. Every action has a reaction. Okay, let's have a look at the Rose Oracle. Okay, we have the rose thread, inner call, soul led, the mystic, living courageously. All right, we'll cover this in the extended. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll join me there. Cancer, have a beautiful month of February. Take good care, and I will see you again next time.